Hey, Kathy.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm sad though. We're not together this time.
No. Last week we were in your dining room.
Yep.
This week
We're
I
in
am in
separate
Utah.
countries.
And I got a sunburn in Utah yesterday a little bit.
Nice problem to have.
I guess so. But yeah,
So,
but you know what? So much has happened since we talked last week. Like, okay, so here's the things, just so people know right off the bat. These are the things we're going to cover.
okay.
Jason Steffen,
Yeah.
MLA Jason Steffen, Red Deer South. Um, oh, that magic number of 177,000.
Yep.
The fact that you wrote an article and I completely switched up my speech and without talking to each other about it first, and we ended up on the same topic.
Yes.
That's kind of wacky. And yeah, then a few little things, but we've got so much to talk about. And that's why I was like, Kathy, we got to do a video.
We do. We do. And do you like my flag? I must point that out. Isn't that beautiful?
I have flag envy.
Right? I go traveling. I come home with gifts. It's lovely.
Love
It's
it.
lovely. I like it. So now I have something new behind me. Yeah. So Jason Steffen, let's just jump right into this because this whole week is becoming quite an eventful one with
Well, you
regards
know
to the
what?
independence
When
movement.
I have a podcaster from the States contacting me about what's going on this week
Yeah.
in Alberta, you know it's making waves.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the truth? So Jason Steffen, MLA Jason Steffen, Red Deer South, has been a bit of a bee in the bonnet of caucus sometimes because he says what he says. He says what he
Yes.
thinks. He doesn't hide who he is, right?
No.
Which is lovely. I wish that more would do that and would be as bold. And
Yeah.
he does it very politely, right? Never puts anybody down. Never. It's never a combative. It's just kind of who I am. This is how I think it should be, and I think all Albertans should be able to have their say. And I happen to agree with what they want to have a say on. So I'm going to go sign the petition and probably vote in a referendum. And this is probably how I'm going to vote in a referendum.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people losing their ever loving minds because our premier has the audacity to allow the MLAs to speak their mind. And it's hilarious to me.
And the whole
Hilarious.
and the whole thing. I mean, if you go back now, full disclosure here. Jason Steffen and I are first cousins. I've known him since I was 4 months old. We were born in the same hospital in the same little town. Our
Yeah.
our dads are twins. So there's a close connection there. And so I have followed him happily on Facebook and watching some of the different things that he has put forward in the legislature.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked many times about politics, about various aspects of it. And he is always, like you say, like he does it very politely. And he always says to me, Angela, just speak the truth in love and kindness. I'm like, well, that's kind of what you exemplify. Like
Yeah.
you to him, he just needs to speak the truth. And I totally admire that in him, like you have said. Um, and, and I don't know, I guess we're kind of freedom fighters. Like he's very much about the democratic process, protecting and promoting the democratic process. And so we have had a number of discussions about independence over the years. And it
Mm-hmm.
started back in 2022. There was the Wild Rose Independence Party of Alberta, infamous AGM, where the whole thing basically blew up. And it
Yep.
was held in Red Deer. And that night, I went and stayed the night with him and his family. And we sat up very late talking about what I had witnessed and experienced, not just that day, but also my involvement in the 2 years previous to that with Alberta independence.
Right.
And he had all the arguments that we hear against Alberta independence, and like all the reasons why we needed to try harder, we needed to do this within Confederation, we needed to do this within Confederation. He had all of those arguments down, all the reasons why it wasn't going to work, how it wasn't feasible, maybe some of the political ramifications, because he was an MLA, so he's thinking about politics as a whole in Alberta. And we had this amazing hours-long conversation about why I felt the way I did. And I challenged him right there and then. I said, you need to read Michael Wagner. You need to learn some history. You got the books. Oh my goodness, right there. Alberta, Separatism Then and Now, No Other Option. Yep. Oh, Time to Leave. You got them all. So I challenged him and said, you got to look into the history of this. Like, it has all been tried. There are so many reasons why we need to leave and blah, 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 blah. And he went over to his computer and got on Amazon immediately while I'm sitting there in his living room and ordered those books. Yeah. And I just thought, you know what? Like, we are on very opposite ends of this discussion. Now, this was in 2022, so 4 years ago. But how much respect I have for somebody who, he's very well educated, very successful in his career, became an MLA because he wants to serve the people in his riding. Mm-hmm. And yet he was willing to say, you know what? I need to learn some more. I'm willing to take a look at this. I'm open to learning more. And clearly, over the past 4 years, he has learned more to the point where he feels very comfortable promoting the idea of the referendum and of the petition and of the whole democratic process surrounding that, and even to the point of openly supporting that we need a change in Alberta or in Canada, and Alberta independence is the way that we need to go.
Right. And it's refreshing to have somebody do that who's in that position, who to go, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'm missing something. There's some information there. There's a disconnect that my cousin Angela is getting, but I'm not. So let's see, what is it that I'm missing? And then he decided for himself.
Oh, 100%. And he's so funny because every once in a while over the last couple of years, I'll just shoot him a text, something about Alberta independence. And most of the time it was radio static. Yeah. and I know him well enough that I was just like, he's sitting with that one.
Yeah.
And and I didn't need a response. It was like, he's sitting with it. So yeah, anyways, we had some funny texts the other day when the internet blew up, when he came out publicly supporting Alberta independence. So yeah.
Well, and to take that a step further, hats off to our premier for making this possible.
Yes.
She's the one who made the way. And then hats off to our premier for saying that her caucus can vote their conscience. They are Albertans as well. Yes, they're MLAs, but they're Albertans. This absolutely has everything to do with their future too.
Yes.
And so, unlike the NDP, who's losing their ever-loving minds right now because how dare she not boss everybody around and tell them what to do, because all they want to have is, of course, communism by the end of this whole entire thing, where everybody just walks in line and does whatever the boss says to do. So to them, this is just completely foreign. And on top of that, the flack that our premier is getting from the rest of Canada, including the CPC, the Conservative Party of Canada, I'm sure you don't see it publicly, but you know darn well it's going on behind the scenes. And she is saying, no, Albertans are going to have a say. That is how this is going to happen. Albertans are going to have a say. So then we've got people like your cousin in a position of authority, an elected official saying, cool, I'm going to have my say. Now, you know what else I would like to see? Are some of these C-suite guys, executives, big business owners, do the same thing. Stop fighting us and go get some information.
Yeah.
Because you're disconnected, guys and gals for that matter. Disconnected.
Totally disconnected. And like you had said to me earlier today, Kathy, you know, like some of these guys who are fighting this is about the common person. They're going to be fine no matter which way this goes. Their bank accounts are going to be fine. This is about the common person. This is about the grassroots Albertans and what they are seeing and what they need.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the future Albertans.
Yes.
Right? Like this is, we will get this done. We'll get it over the finish line, and that's great. And now we can look at our kids, and you and I both are grandmas. We can look at our grandbabies and go, yep, good. We managed to right this ship so that we know you have a future. The rest of Canada is going down.
Right.
But that's not our problem. That's their problem. And all those provinces have exactly the same opportunities that we do. They just have to push their premier to say, we want a citizen-led initiated referendum. So put some legislation in. We want what Alberta has. I mean, they always want what we have anyways. It's just usually our money. So put some legislation in and get going. But really, like these 3 books, I challenge all those guys, anybody who is arguing with us, read them. They're easy reads. They're very easy reads. And if you haven't changed your mind by the end of it, and after, you know, listening to what we have to say, after listening to all the other voices that are around, fine. But don't just dismiss it.
No, at least inform yourself. Well, okay. So those who so easily dismissed this as a fringe movement, we found out this week that it most definitely is not that.
It does not that. No, it's not that. Now, we don't know the number of signatures. We're not allowed to know that. But we were told last night that the threshold has been met.
With a healthy buffer.
With a healthy buffer, yeah. So we will have a referendum. Mm-hmm. We will have a referendum. So that part is good. That's our first.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's our first message to Ottawa.
Right. Well, and now after this, it's all just gravy. Now it's just fun.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how many signatures we can get, right?
Well, it is. And you know what else is going to be interesting is this lawsuit that's trying to get the injunction that the chiefs have put together. That's next week. That goes in front, like on the 6th or something, I think.
Right.
6th or the 7th, something like that. So what are they going to do? Are they going to waste taxpayer dollars, even more taxpayer dollars, trying to stop something that has already been accomplished?
Like the horse is out of the barn. Like there's no rolling this back.
There's no rolling it back. We have the signatures. I mean, we knew we would get them. I don't think anybody in this movement was the least bit worried about that. But it would be very, very sad if these chiefs decide to go ahead and try and get this injunction, because it would be an absolute waste.
It would be a waste. And what does it say? Like, they will be saying so much. I mean, the fact that they are already wanting to put an injunction on this and stop the democratic process says a lot. But if they are willing to go ahead and do that, knowing full well the amount of support that there is for this in the province, that is not good. And that leads to our next topic, actually.
No, it does. That just sort of folded right in.
It really does. Okay, so last week it was my turn. You had your turn earlier. When did you do it? In February or March? To do the speaking tour with Jason Levine. So yeah, I think you did more the northern part of the province, right?
I did. Yep.
Last week I had the opportunity to do it with him. I didn't make the first one in Drumheller, but basically we just went Leduc and just headed south. Like every night was another place. Now you've had much more opportunity to do speaking events to larger groups than I have. So I have never changed up my speaking points, so to speak. I've almost always kind of stuck to our original, what we would talk about with Confederation, how Alberta became part of Confederation, the history, and then the inherent problems with that, and then how to overcome that. So I've never changed anything up, but I really had this feeling that I needed to change it up for this speaking tour.
Yeah.
So I did. I did not talk to you about that.
Nope.
At the same time, you were writing one of your Substack articles.
Yep. And it was same message.
You know, it's get a little creepy, Kathy.
It does. I wrote the Substack article. I threw it out. That was great. You were practicing your speech in here at my house while I was doing my own thing, getting ready for that night because I had to go and speak in where did I go? Toefield that night. You were in
Right.
the Duke. I was in Toefield. So you were getting ready for that one. I was getting ready for the other one. And then Max is amazing, by the way. Shout out. Big shout out.
Freedomcalendar.net.
Yeah. He had put out your speech, a recording of it. And I was like, there it is. I got to listen. So I was listening and I was like, no way. No way. And then I phoned you. I'm like, you are not going to believe this.
Yeah.
So we were on the exact same page. And it's good because now that we know the threshold has been met, we know we've got nowhere to go but up with signatures. And I firmly believe people will sign now, like for the sake of signing. It's not going to be, you have enough. It's like, no, I get it now. I want to be a part of this, right? This matters. It's important. So I think we're not going to have any problem getting more signatures. However, it's already starting, even since the announcement last night, the unofficial announcement last night, that those of us who are a voice, a face, a whatever, a mouthpiece, in most cases, for me anyway, just a mouthpiece for this, the attacks are heavier than they were before. Immediately. Immediately. And to bring divisiveness. And that's what they're going to try and do, right? That is the Canadian way. You guys want to know what the Canadian way is? It's divide and conquer.
It totally is. And that's what you addressed in your article. And that's what I addressed in my talk. So why don't you talk about some of the points that you made in your article to go with this?
Sure. I sat down and I kind of had a realization, an epiphany, maybe is what it was, just from traveling. And actually it came from hearing the other speakers that I've been traveling with and presenting alongside. And I realized that Canada has never been united. So I don't know what this garbage is even all about. Why even say something so asinine? When you go all the way back to the beginning, it was the English against the French. Yep. They were pegged against one another, and it got nasty. It got really nasty when you go back into the history. And finally, they sort of figured it out enough to be neighbors, but like they still scrap. And we even just saw that this week with the president and CEO of Air Canada resigning because he didn't say something in French. Instead, he said it in English. Like, it's English against the French. It's pegging one against the other.
Well, that's just it. I mean, the politicians, let's just look at this for what it was.
Yeah.
The Liberals are losing support in Quebec to the separatist movement.
Yeah.
They have a by-election coming up. They used that absolutely horrific tragedy of losing those two young pilots. They used that for political points. That is all it was. And what did it do? And so many people fell for it. Like, on X, I'm reading the comments and I'm like, you guys fell for it. You all fell for it because you were willing to jump on the divisive language argument.
Yeah.
And this isn't what it was about at all. This was about you siding with them and them getting political points off of this.
Horrible tragedy. Such a tragedy.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And then it expands from there. So it's not just English against French, it's the East against the West. You talk to anybody who travels east and they say it's so different. Like everything on the news is different. Everything about their culture is different. And then vice versa, right? People come out here and they find it very different, but they peg us against one another. And the government does that on purpose. And one of the greatest examples that I give in the talks that I share is how many people know that the federal government changed the EI rules. I hate that they call it EI. You don't need insurance when you have a job. You need it when you don't. It should be unemployment insurance. But anyways, they changed the rules so that in the Maritimes, they would work less hours to qualify than you do in the West.
Yep.
Like, what's that about? Why would you peg East? But we're the ones that are funding that whole program. Because everywhere I go, I ask people, how many of you have collected any or very little of it? And almost every hand goes up. Like, almost every hand goes up. That they haven't ever collected a dime. And they'll never see it.
Yeah.
To peg East against the West.
And it's political points again. Yep. Why? Going right back to Confederation. The seat of power in Canada sits in the East. The politicians know it. And they know how to get those points to stay in power, get into power, whatever.
Yeah. And if memory serves, it was a conservative government that made those changes.
Well, most likely. I don't know.
Yeah. So there's the East against the West. But that's not enough. We have to keep going because French against the English, East against the West, fine. But then from the beginning of time, it's been the Indians against the whites. And that's what we're seeing. Like, we see that all the time again, anytime in the news. It's Indians against the whites or First Nations or Aboriginals or whatever they're going to call themselves now. But that's how it began, was Indians against the whites. Now it's First Nations against the whites. And they feed it. The federal government gives the Aboriginals all this money to sue. And it's all our tax dollars. So they're essentially, the federal government is using the Aboriginals to get us under thumb, including with this petition. I guarantee you that's who's behind it, is the federal government saying, here, we'll fund this, go do it. Yeah. And it's fighting against. And there's so many different, like, that's a train you could go on for days and days and days on all the ways that the government has done this. Rather than allowed people to come together and to get along, right? But then, if that's not bad enough, the icing on the cake is literally how they peg, and again, I'm going to say the unpolitical whatevers, but don't care anymore. They peg the chiefs against the Indians. Mm-hmm. You go to any one of these reserves, and you look at how the chiefs and council live versus everybody else, and you will discover there is a remarkable difference. Huge. There is a distinction between the two. Yeah. And there's nothing we can do about that. That's something that they have to do. That's something that's a challenge for them to overcome, which I happen to believe that Alberta becoming a republic will definitely help them overcome that challenge, or at least put
a reset.
Yeah, they can reset it as well. But that is the Canadian way. Divide and conquer. Keep everybody fighting so they don't pay attention to what the elite are doing. And here they're called the Laurentians. They even have a name. The Laurentian elite. Don't pay attention to what the Laurentian elite are doing. And now, suddenly, here we are in 2026 paying over 60% in taxes while they money launder everything through Europe.
Yeah.
The places. Anyways, rant over. But yeah, that's what it is.
Everything you say is absolutely true. And going with the talk that I gave last week, went right along with that. You know, I gave some other examples too, like the Multiculturalism Act that was put into place. And even like the Secretary of State who was introducing this Multiculturalism Act, he said it was to basically facilitate the evolution and reshaping of Canada. You know, and we've seen that to the point where nobody knows what Canadian values are. There is no cohesion within Canadian society. And going to your point, this was the point that I also made in my talk, is that these tactics of fear-mongering and divisiveness, they isolate the regular people from themselves. And that isolation allows the elite, and in this case, the Laurentian elite, to basically do whatever they want, and the rest of us are too distracted fighting over whether the CEO of Air Canada should have spoken English or French,
Yeah.
right? Rather
Yeah.
than paying attention to what is going on. And
Yeah.
so something that I said in my speech was that our isolation keeps them in power, but our connection destroys that power. And if we are coming into an opportunity to create something new within Alberta, it needs to be based in vision,
Yeah.
that our leaders have a vision, right? And that the vision isn't, are you going to vote for me next week? But an actual vision for our new Alberta. And that unity has to be that underpinning value for anything else we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not unified, and if we are still allowing ourselves to be divided by these divisive tactics or fear, then all we've done is we've replaced the Laurentian elite with the Edmonton elite. And what is the point? What is the point in that? And so, yeah, my whole, I mean, it was just so very similar to yours, which is so funny. But it was a challenge to people to have their eyes wide open that as this movement moves forward, and okay, wonderful, we've got the 177,000. Now we, there's going to be various steps and signposts or whatever as we go along the way, right?
Yeah.
But we have to be aware and alert and be looking for those types of leaders. I'm biased, like my cousin Jason Stephan.
Yeah.
Be looking for those kinds of leaders who are willing to, they're not there to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to represent, to lead, to encourage, to bring people together, not to divide us.
Exactly. And as the people of Alberta, let's also remember, don't let them divide us within the movement, because that's going to be the next tactic. Mm-hmm. Is they're going to try and divide us within the movement. I don't know exactly how. I have my ideas, but I don't know exactly what playbook they're going to use, other than it's the oldest playbook on the planet, is divide and conquer. And so it is going to start to happen, especially now that they know we are very, 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 very likely to be successful in this referendum at the end of the, like in October. And so as the folks that are part of this, as the separatists, let's not get caught up in that.
No.
Let's not get caught up in that. Whenever we see one another, continue with the high fives and the hugs and the support online, and don't get stuck with the trolls who have come out to play all over again.
Right.
Let's just, and that doesn't mean we agree on everything too. Let's make sure we get that straight.
No, and we shouldn't agree on, like, we should not agree on everything.
No.
I remember once, like when I owned my business, it was an agricultural testing lab, and we had a number of employees, and I actually encouraged at our staff meetings, I'm like, you argue this point and you argue this point. Like, let's hear it, because this is the only way that we're going to come up with the best solution. Is if you can poke holes in this guy's argument, or you can poke holes in this guy's argument, like let's duke it out. I mean, in a respectful, kind way. And we always had, I'm all about food. We always had food. But anyway, but of course. But the point is that if you want the best solutions, you've got to be willing to have some disagreement, to argue back and forth. Maybe the proper word would be to debate, to be able to debate these strong points. We're going to have to come up with, what form of government do we as Albertans want?
Yeah.
How much authority do we want our new government to have?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, what is it going to look like when it comes to social services that the government provides or doesn't provide? Like, we could just go on and on about all the different things that we are going to need to be able to have conversations around and to disagree on in order to be able to come to the best possible solutions.
Exactly. I don't know, did you guys have this experience when you were going around with Jason, with me doing the Chris Scott's Let's Talk tour? There have been a couple of opportunities where we'll get to the Q&A, And I can think of one off the top of my head where I ended up sort of in this other conversation with Shane Meekley, because
Mm,
someone had asked about what kind of government we were going to have, and he's like, well, most people say a republic, which is true. And so then he says, but I kind of like this one because of this and this and this, and he mentioned regions, which goes along with a lot of the thoughts that I've had, but
mhm.
he articulated it better than I had up until that point. And so I went, oh, that's cool. So in a republic, could we have regions in a republic? Like, it doesn't have to be states. Can we do that? And he says, well, I think so. Why couldn't we? And the whole audience, like, it just, you could feel it,
The
where
energy.
they were watching us having this, exchange of ideas and not having the answers. And it freed them up to go, oh, yeah, we don't have to have all the answers. We can just do like this brain dump of ideas and
Love it.
think this through. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun. I was like, see, guys, like, we don't we don't have to have all the answers yet. It's okay. We'll figure
Yeah.
this out.
And it is fun. I mean, and it's exciting and it's hopeful.
Yeah.
When we think of like, oh my goodness, like one, we're making history in such a good way. And talking about history, this last week I've thought a lot about the messaging, about the divisive tactics and stuff that have been used on Canadians for so long. But I've thought about, like, if I think about leaders in history, who come to mind? Like, I'm talking about positive leaders. We can think about negative leaders too. But I think about like Martin Luther King. I have a dream. Right? He inspired so many people with that speech. I have a dream, right? It wasn't I have a nightmare. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Let me see. Margaret Thatcher was wonderful for inspiring people.
Yes.
Ronald Reagan, Mr. Gorbachev, take down this wall. JFK, do not ask what your country can do for you. Instead, ask for what you can do for your country, right? It's always positivity. It's always like bringing people together. It's always, I have a vision. I have a dream, right?
Yeah.
And when we think about the opposite, I mean, and you always hate to use the example of Hitler and Nazism, because that is so extreme. But that is exactly what he used, was fear and divisiveness.
Well, and you can even take it after. You can follow that right through to recent history as well. That goes alongside with all the names you just mentioned. It went from Hitler, then to Stalin, to Lenin, to Mao, and all of them divide the people, the people to make one group hate the other, and then you don't have to do anything,
right?
As the leader, you don't have to do anything. They'll do it to themselves. They'll destroy themselves. And what lasting anything did that have? The Soviet Union fell. Like, China is still in a mess, but it's not where it was under Mao. They're slowly getting there, I think, sort of. But again, it's up to the Chinese people to figure that out. There's when it's done in fear, which is what the politicians will try, and the Laurentians, the upper echelons of society, so that they can maintain their status quo. Will try and instill fear. That doesn't last. But when someone comes in exactly as you said, and I mean, you go right back to the one who was the best of the best at it, which is Jesus Christ. He brought people together.
Yeah.
They'll know you by your fruit. They'll know you by your love for one another. They'll know you by who you are and how you treat other people. That is what has that lasting impression, not the hate. So we've got to be, we're at a precipice right now, guys, where we've got to be so careful. Don't let them do that to you. Do not let them do that to you. If you hear something about somebody that doesn't sound right, go and ask that person.
Yeah, have a conversation.
Come say something. Kathy, I just heard that you said this, and this. I'll tell you whether I said it or not. Don't worry about it. Just don't fall for the tactics. We got to stay unified.
Absolutely. And it's such an exciting thing to be unified around.
Oh, yeah. And we're making history. When I was at the Sean Newman Cornerstone Forum this weekend, the world is watching Alberta.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
the world
no doubt.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool. Because I don't even know if the world knew where Alberta was.
No, they should have. For all that we have to offer the world, they should have, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Because we were somewhat suppressed or whatever and all that. But oh, that is so exciting. Well, you know what? You and I had alluded to something that we have coming up pretty quick here.
Yes.
In our last conversation. And I mean, I guess we could probably say a little bit more because it's actually starting to fall into place. But along these lines of vision and excitement and conversation and discussion that Albertans need to have, we are putting together a 7-part series. These will be live streamed, and then, of course, you can watch them after the recording. But looking at different pillars that a strong, united Alberta could be built upon, and having discussions. And we have arranged some folks to come and join us with these discussions who are very knowledgeable, who are very well known. Maybe we shouldn't say who it is quite yet until we get everything.
Not yet.
Yep. But yeah, it is going to be a fantastic conversation. And it is our hope that we will continue these 7-part series throughout the summer and then into the fall in preparation for the referendum, where Albertans will have an opportunity to even be involved in the conversation. You know, with the live streaming, we're hoping that there will be able to field some questions and that type of thing from the audience. And we're just getting that all figured out and put into place right now. But that should be in the next 3 weeks. We're hoping to launch that. So super excited about that. And just to hear the ideas and to see the conversation that comes out of it.
Well, that's just it. And help us learn how to have the conversation. Like, these are things we've never done this.
Right?
We've never done it. So let's figure it out together. Let's unify and figure it out together. And again, do that brain dump of ideas and find out what other people have to think about these pillars and just have some fun with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's going to be great. Really, really looking forward to it. Let's see. Is there anything else we need to cover, Kathy? There's a couple things coming up next week, but anything else you wanted to?
I'm on the road again. So tomorrow I'm in Fort McMurray. That's going to be cool.
So that'll be April 1st. Yes.
April 1st. Yeah. Tomorrow. And then next week, let me see. Nope. Week after that, I'm back up in the other northern part of Alberta, in northwestern Alberta, again, doing a tour. So watch for, I'll make sure the posters are all up on my social media pages if anybody wants to go.
Okay.
But we need to keep the conversation going. Don't think that just because, okay, we got the signatures, everything is good. No, it's not good yet. We still have people on the fence. So this is the perfect time to bring the friend, the family member, the colleague who's just not quite there yet, and say, just come hear it out. And then at least you'll have some more information to make that decision in October, so you're not going to a ballot unsure. We don't want anybody to do that.
That is such a good point, and goes along with an email that I received today. So obviously last week I was able to make a bunch of connections with a bunch of folks across the province. And I had some invitations for, like, hey, I would really like to hold a meeting, like more the traditional AWIN meeting, like in someone's home or just meeting up at a local restaurant or whatever. But the question was, can you tell me some ways that I can invite people? Like, what would I say to them if I was going to invite them? And I mean, Kathy, what you just said is perfect. We are going to have a referendum. Each of us is going to have the opportunity to stand in that polling booth and mark a box, right? Yes or no type of thing. And we have the opportunity now to learn about this, to gain more information, to feel more confident in our choice. And so for those who are wondering, how do I invite a friend? Invite them to come and just find out more, so that when they have that moment, they will be so confident in their choice, whether it's yes or no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's all it is. It's just like, hey, come find out some more information with me.
Yep. Yeah. And you might be surprised who shows up.
It's true. It is very true.
I was very surprised. At the last one, I did two. There was 2 home meetings in 1 week, and there was one where it was someone who was very, 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 very involved in federal politics,
Mm.
conservatively, and she's just finally had enough and said, "All right, I got to come see what you crazy people are all about." So she did, and she was glad she did. Leave it
Yeah,
at that. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's just let's find out some more information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's-
And that's true too. If you do find, and that actually opened up another conversation, that if you are in a place, and it's really unfortunate that this is what Canada has become, but if you are in a place where you cannot publicly be seen at one of these rallies because your job is could be compromised, or whatever, like, the whole mandate thing all over again. How dare you stand up for yourself, or you might lose your job. So if that's the case, or if you just maybe are not comfortable going because of some sort of a position that you hold, and you and your cohorts would like to have a private conversation with either Angela or I, that's a great time.
yeah.
Just bring out the charcuterie board, ladies, and we will show up. Have no problem. You know,
Yep.
and it doesn't go anywhere. We don't go out and say, "Oh, you'll never guess who came to this meeting." Like,
No.
I just shared a story without names. Like, that's it doesn't leave. It doesn't anything. We just really want to make sure everybody comes into this. You're either going to check yes because that is your conviction, or you're going to check no because that is your conviction. But for heaven's sakes, make sure you have all the information.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Love it. Next week, Wednesday, you
Yes.
and I, we've been asked or invited to be a part of a podcast out of the US called the Patriot Pulse podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to have Fergus Hodgson join us as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. I'm reading his book right now. So if any of you don't know who Fergus Hodgson is, definitely, if you're on X, follow him. Man, he's smart, and
Yeah.
and he has so much experience. So he's with economics. He lives in the States. Huge
Yep.
proponent of Alberta independence because he sees it for what it is, as the reset that the world needs.
Right.
Have you got his book there?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Nope, I don't have it. I thought I might. Do you?
I do.
Okay.
Financial Sovereignty for Canadians. Untether Yourself from the Ottawa Leviathan.
Oh.
Yeah, so he covers a lot of different things in here. Interesting. He's lived in like 7 different countries. Just like he's got a ton of experience. Very, very interesting. So, anyways, he's going to be joining us on that podcast. That's going to be Wednesday morning.
Okay.
It is live streamed. And yeah, then you've got your stuff coming up. And then, yeah, I've just got some traditional Alberta Women's Independence Network meetings that I am putting into place right now, all
Awesome.
across the province. If there are people who want to know more information about the Alberta Women's Independence Network, what we do, our get-togethers that we hold around the province, how to have a get-together in your area.
Yep.
Like Kathy said, it could be private, it could be open to the public, whatever. Like, we just do whatever works for you. Go ahead and email us there at abwomensindependencenetwork@gmail.com, and we will reach out to you. We'll get in contact. We'll figure something out. It is so fun. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it, share, subscribe. Again, that's how these things kind of get out to more people, more opportunities to learn about Alberta independence.
Exactly. Well, this was lovely. Thank you.
It was great.
We always have the best conversations.
I'm glad that it worked out, that we could do it. And you know what? I'm not sure how long I'm going to be down in Utah, a few more days before we head home. But with everything going on this week, we had to talk, Kathy. So I'm glad we did.
We did. That's too cool. Awesome. Well, you keep on doing amazing things down there with your family in Utah. That's just great. And then when you get back, we'll have to figure out another way to get us both in the same room together.
That would be awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, until next time.
Thanks, Kathy.